Have you ever noticed how those who try to please everyone end up being the most disrespected? It's hard to hear that, but it's the purest truth. Being too nice, deep down, is a trap disguised as virtue. With each forced yes, with each ignored limit, you shrink a little more. Until people just stop taking you seriously. But what if I told you that there is a way to be respected without having to become an ogre? This is where Stoic coldness comes in, not as a mask of arrogance, but as an armor of balance. It teaches you to be firm without losing your humanity, to say no with a serene smile and, above all, to put your peace first. In this video, you'll discover how to stop seeking approval at all costs, set boundaries with confidence, and transform that desire to please into an authentic presence that commands respect. No, we're not going to teach you how to be callous, we're going to show you how to be unshakable. So, if you're tired of being left behind just because you're good people, stay with me until the end. Today you will learn that being respected has nothing to do with being nice and everything to do with being truthful. Look, being a good person is commendable. The problem starts when you confuse kindness with submission. That I'm going to do this just so I don't create a problem becomes routine. And when you realize it, you're already carrying weight that wasn't even yours. Sacrificing yourself in excess does not make you more noble, only more burdened. And guess what? People begin to see this as weakness, not virtue. Pleasing others to the detriment of oneself is the most subtle form of self-sabotage. You annul yourself little by little, hoping to gain recognition that never comes. Have you noticed how those who never say no end up being the easy option for everything? This is not respect, it is convenience. And those who live to be convenient forget to live authentically. Stoicism comes in here as that key that awakens you. Being good is not being available all the time. Marcus Aurelius was not nice, he was fair. This means knowing when to help and when to protect yourself. True virtue lies in balancing compassion and steadfastness, without allowing goodwill to become a license for others to exploit you. So, the big turning point is simple: start asking yourself, what does this cost me? Before accepting requests, favors, or responsibilities. This is not selfishness, it is emotional intelligence. And when you learn to protect your space, people start to realize that your yes has value because it doesn't come for free anymore. Let's demystify something right away. Stoic coldness is not being insensitive, it is having posture. It is to stop reacting to every nudge in the world as if everything were personal. You know that person who keeps calm even when everything around them is on fire? This is Stoic coldness. Not because she doesn't feel it, but because she chose not to be held hostage to the impulse. And guess what? This is exactly what arouses respect. Being firm with your personal values is an act of courage, especially in a world where everyone wants to mold you by force. Saying this is not in line with me without raising your voice, without losing your composure, is the real test of strength. And that doesn't mean being rude, it means being clear, objective, and true to what you believe, without apologizing for it. Respect is born of authenticity. When you're always looking for approval, your identity gets on sale, cheap, disposable, and easy to ignore. But when you stand up with serenity, without lack of applause, people begin to calibrate the way they address you. It's as if your energy says, I'm not here to be pleased, I'm not here to please, I'm here to be true. If you want to start applying this, do this the next time you feel like over-justifying your decisions. Stop. Breathe. And answer simply, it's what I chose for myself. Without extending, without flourishes. This posture, repeated constantly, transforms his image immediately. And most importantly, it reinforces, for yourself, that whoever dictates the rules of your life, it's you. Let's get straight to the point. Those who don't know how to say no end up living the agenda of others. And that's not being kind, it's abandoning yourself. But calm down, no one is telling you to go around being rude. The art of denying with confidence is one of the greatest weapons of emotional intelligence. The secret is to be polite, direct and, above all, without guilt. Want a practical example? Someone asks you for something that you know will hurt or overwhelm you. Instead of making excuses, you can respond, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to assume that right now." Simple, respectful, and non-negotiable. Notice you don't need to justify too much. The more you try to explain yourself, the more you open up room for manipulation. Reaffirming your limits is not a matter of rudeness, it is a matter of self-care. If you don't protect yourself, no one will do it for you. A powerful tip: practice small negatives on a daily basis. Refusing favors that don't make sense, saying I'd rather not give an opinion on this, or even choosing to be silent when pulled into an uncomfortable subject. Each well-placed no strengthens your self-respect. And here's the trick: the more you get used to saying no without guilt, the more others learn to respect your space. Not because you impose fear, but because you convey clarity. And those who are clear about the limits do not need to fight for respect, it comes naturally. After all, those who know how to say no firmly live with much more quality yes for themselves. If there's one thing that Stoicism masterfully teaches, it's that those who don't know how to protect their time end up living on the autopilot of others. Every interruption, every quickie that you accept without criteria, is a little piece of your focus going away. Therefore, setting aside blocks of time for yourself is not a luxury, it is a survival strategy. Start small: set aside 30 minutes of your day for something that strengthens you, whether it's reading, meditation, or even a simple coffee in silence. Protecting your time from unnecessary interruptions is a silent way to educate the people around you. When you demonstrate that your personal commitments are non-negotiable, people start to think twice before invading your space. Practical tip: use expressions such as "Now I can't give you quality attention, let's talk later." Polite, direct, and with posture. Self-care isn't just about skincare or rest, it's about managing your energy smartly. Every automatic sim you give to other people's tasks steals fuel from what really matters to you. Defining your priorities clearly is like drawing a map. Without it, you become a passenger in your own life. And worse, a tired passenger. Do you want to be respected? Start by respecting your own agenda. Set fixed times for your priorities and treat them as commitments with the same weight as an important meeting. The message is clear: my time has value. And those who transmit this energy attract more respect and much less abuse. Believe me, people notice when you take your own space seriously. Self-respect starts when you decide to stop being last on your own list. It seems simple, but many people spend their lives waiting for others to validate their choices in order to feel worthy. And guess what? This external recognition rarely comes in the way you expect. Therefore, prioritizing your own needs is not selfishness, it is a matter of emotional health. Words are important, but actions scream louder. It's no use saying that you want to be respected if, in practice, you continue to accept crumbs. Reinforcing your boundaries requires attitude. It's not about confronting others all the time, but about taking a firm stance, even if it's silent. A simple "this doesn't work for me" can be more transformative than 1,000 justifications. Always giving in to please is a dangerous trap. At first, it may even seem like you're being seen as kind and helpful. But, over time, it becomes customary. You start to be remembered as that person who is up for everything. And believe me, this does not bring you the respect you deserve. Learn to see these moments as opportunities to strengthen your identity. Want a hands-on exercise? Every time you find yourself seeking automatic approval, stop and ask, does this align with what I want, or am I just trying to get accepted? This simple question is a watershed. Gradually, you'll realize that the most powerful validation is the one that comes from the mirror when you look at yourself and know that you're being true to yourself. There comes a time when you need to take up the pen and write your own story, without waiting for anyone's permission. Being the authority of your own life is this: defining your principles, your rules, and living according to them. Of course, listening to advice is valid, but at the end of the day, you're the one who pays the price for your decisions, so why let others decide for you? Making decisions based on values, and not on external pressures, is what differentiates those who live with purpose from those who live on automatic. With each choice, ask yourself, is this in line with my values, or am I just avoiding conflicts? This reflection is powerful. It will help you stand firmly, even when the social tide tries to drag you away from your path. Now, it is inevitable those who take a stand need to be prepared for confrontations. But you see, confronting is not fighting, it's just refusing to accept impositions that hurt your essence. A healthy confrontation is one in which you maintain respect, but do not give up your limits. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. A practical tip: pick an area of your life where you feel like you live in passive mode, whether it's work, family, or relationships, and start acting like the protagonist. Clearly define what you accept and what you don't. The change starts small, but the impact is immense. When you position yourself as the authority of your own life, people learn to treat you with the respect that you give yourself. Emotional self-sufficiency is not about isolating yourself from the world, nor is it about pretending that you don't need anyone. It is, in fact, developing the ability to be your own foundation. Do you know that saying, "He who lives by applause dies by silence"? That's that. When you depend on the validation of others to feel good, your peace is in the hands of those who do not always have good intentions. That's why learning to self-evaluate is so liberating. Reflecting on your own choices, without needing an external okay, is a daily exercise. Ask yourself, does this decision really represent me, or is it just to please? This simple question nips a lot of manipulation in the bud. The key is to become your best counselor, someone who can look at their behavior honestly and still treat themselves with compassion. Making mistakes is part of the process. But those who are emotionally self-sufficient do not crush themselves with blame, nor do they throw responsibility in the lap of others. Learn, adjust, and move on. True strength lies in recognizing one's own faults without losing dignity. And do you know what the bonus is? You stop comparing yourself to everyone else, because you understand that your journey is unique. Want straightforward practice? Make a habit of writing down, at the end of the day, a decision you made based on what you thought was right, not what was expected of you. This will reinforce your perception that you do have the ability to lead your life. And believe me, this emotional self-sufficiency does not distance you from people. On the contrary, it makes you someone more whole and, therefore, much stronger in relationships. Let's face it, most of your suffering comes from what you don't control, and worse, you try to control anyway. Emotional detachment doesn't mean being cold or indifferent, but rather choosing where you put your energy. When you move away from the emotions imposed by others, you start to live on your axis. It is the difference between being the owner of the helm or being adrift in the boat of other people's feelings. Reacting calmly, especially in situations that poke at your pride, is a master training. The next time someone tries to tease you, try pausing before responding. Mentally count to 3, take a deep breath, and, if necessary, do not answer anything. Remember, silence is a very powerful response. Internal control is strengthened when you understand that you don't have to react to everything. Freeing yourself from the need to control other people's reactions is one of the greatest proofs of emotional maturity. You have no mastery over how others will act or think about you. But he has complete power over how he chooses to deal with it. The more you accept this truth, the more lightness and mental clarity you gain. And this, my friend, is one of the greatest victories of Stoicism. Want a Hansen exercise? Every time you feel a strong emotional reaction, anger, frustration, offense, ask yourself a question: does this reaction help me or does it just wear me down? This simple self-analysis is an emergency brake for the uncontrolled emotional. Over time, you'll realize that being self-possessed isn't about being insensitive, it's about being strategically calm. Being kind doesn't mean saying yes to everything, much less carrying the world on your shoulders. True goodness is intelligent, it knows how to help without annulling itself. Welcoming without submitting. Firmness with empathy is that's what it's all about. It's knowing when to reach out and when to teach the other to walk alone. It's not about being tough, but about being clear about your boundaries while maintaining respect. Correcting someone with empathy is an art. Instead of exploding or becoming passive-aggressive, you can say, "I understand your point, but that's not acceptable to me." Look at the difference. You don't disrespect, but you also don't give up your posture. Being direct, but respectful, avoids misunderstandings and also teaches the other how to deal with you. That's maturity in action. Pleasing everyone, ironically, doesn't make you a better person, only more vulnerable to manipulation. People who live to please often end up accumulating frustration and resentment. And the worst, when they finally explode, they are seen as unbalanced. To avoid getting to this point, learn to be gentle but assertive. Remember, those who stand with respect are seen with respect. Practical tip: the next time you're asked for something that goes against your limits, respond in a calm tone. I'd like to help, but I need to be honest with myself. This phrase has enormous power. It shows empathy, but also firmness. You don't have to choose between being good or being respected. The real strength lies precisely in balancing the two. Have you ever stopped to think about how many decisions in your life were guided by the fear of displeasing you? The need to be accepted is an invisible prison. And the worst thing is that, no matter how hard you try to please everyone, there will always be someone finding fault. To free yourself from external validation is to understand that the opinion of others does not define your worth. Difficult? Yes. Liberator? Very much. The first step is to question this need. Why do I need so-and-so to approve my choice? Often, it's an automatic reflex, a pattern that you don't even notice anymore. When you start acting based on your values, and not on the acceptance of others, a subtle transformation happens. You start to attract people who respect your authenticity, and you distance yourself from those you only approached for convenience. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your essence is a game changer. Healthy relationships do not require masks. And believe me, being true may even drive some away at first, but it makes room for much stronger and more sincere connections. After all, what's the point of being loved by a fake version of you? In the long run, this only generates wear and void. Want to start practicing? Establish a no-approve day, a day when your choices, no matter how small, are made without asking anyone's opinion. Choose the clothes you want, decide where you are going to have lunch, make small choices just for you. This simple, often repeated workout is a giant step toward breaking the reliance on external validation and strengthening your own voice. Rejection hurts, I know. But it doesn't have to be your enemy. In fact, when you change perspective, rejection becomes one of the most powerful tools for personal growth. It is a natural filter that separates those who are really aligned with your values from those who are only there for what you could offer. Being rejected doesn't diminish your worth, it just reveals where you shouldn't waste energy anymore. Every no you receive is an opportunity to fine-tune your internal compass. Instead of asking yourself, why didn't they like me, try, do I really want to be a part of this? This turning point turns rejection into constructive feedback. After all, not everything you lose was a loss. Often, it was a disguised deliverance. Developing emotional resilience in the face of rejection takes practice. And it begins with the small no's of everyday life: a refused invitation, an opinion not valued, an ignored proposal. Instead of holding back, look at these moments as strengthening training. Gradually, you will realize that rejection no longer dismantles you. On the contrary, it sharpens you. Want an exercise? Every time you go through a rejection situation, write a lesson that you can take away. Even if it's something simple like, I've learned not to insist where I'm not welcome. This habit transforms the pain of rejection into fuel for evolution. And more, it reinforces that true respect starts within you, not in the eyes of the other. Have you ever noticed how there are people who live in a conflict loop, as if drama were fuel? And worse, many times, we are pulled inside without realizing it. The key here is simple but powerful: to reject drama. It is not a matter of ignoring real problems, but of not fueling storms that only exist because someone needs a stage. When you choose serenity, you automatically take the oxygen out of the chaos. Identifying dramatic situations begins with reading the environment. Observe who always brings gossip, tension, indirects. These are signs that there is an emotional trap there. And you don't have to get into the game. A simple "I prefer not to comment on this" is enough to establish your line of defense. It's amazing how peace grows when you refuse to dance to the music of the conflict. Serenity is not the absence of emotion, it is domination. It's being fully aware of what deserves your energy and what will only wear you out. Is the provocation coming? You observe, but you don't respond. Does unfair criticism appear? You filter, see if it fits, and let go. This is emotional shielding. And the more you practice, the lighter you carry and the less space the drama finds to settle in. Want some practical action? Start a drama detox today. Silence for 24 hours everything that usually throws you off track: negative news, toxic social networks, conversations that don't add up. Use this time to focus on yourself, quietly, clearly. It will seem simple, but this choice completely changes the course of your energy. Because when serenity becomes a priority, everything that is not peace becomes excess. And now tell me, how many times have you realized that you were living more to please others than to honor yourself? How many times did you give in, swallow frogs, just to avoid conflicts, while deep down frustration gnawed at you? Maybe today is the day to turn that key. The Stoic coldness we've talked about here isn't about being callous, it's about regaining control of your own life. If each teaching in this video has ignited an alert within you, don't ignore it. Start small, set a limit, say no with respect, prioritize your time. Don't expect respect to come from the outside if you keep putting yourself in last place. It is your responsibility to protect your energy and lead your journey with firmness and authenticity. Now I ask you, are you ready to stop being too nice and start being truly respected? Ready to apply this healthy coolness that protects, balances, and strengthens? If the answer is yes, you've already taken the first step just by being here. And if this content made sense to you, take advantage and subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell and leave your like. That way, you don't miss the next videos and continue this journey of self-mastery, self-respect, and inner growth. Your transformation begins now.